trying to update our video. There we go. Yeah, we're going to update our video from May of last year. There's a lot of new stuff. So thank you, Pedro.
Welcome.
Okay, so rolling right in. It's the OST Basics Pre-Construction Estimating Training 2021. It'd be myself, Frank Gaspar, and Pedro Perez doing the walking through this. And here's a quick outline of the training. We're going to go through understanding the basics, loading the Walters and Wolf OST master database. I know a lot of you guys have been asking about this. You'll be all set up after today. We're going to show you how to create a database, how to synchronize the database, and where the OST database folders are located. We're going to go through setting up for a new project, creating a new bid, image management, inserting condition styles, and then Pedro's going to roll into getting started, showing you the interface, renaming the architectural sheets, calculating the scale, using conditions, and then towards the end we're going to go through printing and exporting the takeoff, the PDF, and just exporting the file itself. Any questions on this? No? Okay, we're going to roll right in, understanding the basics. Loading the Walters and Wolf OST database. We're going to download the database from Microsoft Teams. This is where the master database is currently located. We're going to move it once we download it into our C drive, and then we're going to open that. So here's the step. What I'm going to do is just kind of show them here in the PowerPoint, and then we're actually, if everybody has access to Teams and to your OST open, we'll kind of be walking through that. So to download the Walters and Wolf OST database, you're going to go to Teams, K Drive 2.0. You're going to go to K Drive. You're going to click on the general. You're going to click up here on files. You're going to go down and look for this Walters and Wolf OST master database. You're going to right click here or left click the little three dots there, and then you're going to select download. So we're going to do that first. I'm going to walk through that here. Are you guys seeing Teams on my side?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Just make sure. So I'm gonna do that. So we're gonna click here, general. I'm gonna go to files, and this is the file that we're gonna download. So you're gonna right click it here. You guys could kind of do it on one as well, and then you're gonna click download. So that's downloading the file. Okay, so now that it's downloaded, when you download the file, typically puts it in the downloads, puts it here, and then we're going to grab it from your download directory and then drop it into our C drive. So we're going to do that. We're going to go to, let me know if you guys don't see it, because I know sometimes you guys are seeing my Explorer, right? Okay, yep. So I'm going to go to downloads. There's the file there. I'm going to move it or cut it. Going to go to the C drive, OCS, OST, and then paste it right here. A few you might have, if you set up OST for the first time, you probably won't have much in here. But this is where your folders, where we want to drop it in. That's where the file would go. So that's downloading it and bringing it over. We just did this step right here.
Sorry, do we save questions for?
You could stop me along the way. Yeah.
I just wanted to know what well, I guess you're gonna go over it. What's inside that file? Like,
yeah. No. This is, just so you guys know, this is new. A lot of it got set up for this training. Putting it in Teams, creating it. It's like an improvement from our last training. Just having a lot of the basic tools kind of there already for when you start. Like what Ben was going to cover is like getting started. Yeah. So now we downloaded it, copied it, moved it over to the C drive. Now we want to open it. So here's kind of in PowerPoint showing you. You're going to click File. In OST, you're going to click File, Open. You're going to scroll through it, and we're going to click it. So let me flip the OST. So I'm in OST. I'm going to click on this Open. And I'm going to search for it here. It's actually showing up right here. Everybody should have it. when you copy it over, it automatically shows up as a database for you to open. You can move it, copy it, bring in another one. This will be where it shows up. So I'm gonna click it. I'm gonna click open. Close up on it. So that's opening the database. So again, this is a master database. This is where a bunch of which I'll walk through what's in here. When we, so did everybody have any issues bringing that over, opening it? Everyone was able to open the database.
Can you give us 1 second?
Sure. I'll pause here. In the meantime, I can probably talk about some of the stuff that's in here. So if you click on master, this will give you the employees, all the estimators that are going to be using. There's roughly about 15 of us that are on this list. If we need to make any updates to this, there's no real, the numbers used to be our extension numbers. So I think we're probably going to be updating that, but that's just kind of what you see. You might see X's next to them. So I think we'll be updating that, but should have everybody here mostly, and then people that are actually already using it. So it has all the users. We added this job status, that we recently updated, the classes, the type of bid that you're going to be doing, gives you that option. It has the condition types, the default ones that get loaded. And the library sets, which we'll get into. So any questions on that? Aja, Ahmed, you guys need me to pause for a little bit? Brian, that worked for you, this downloading it and putting it in there, opening it? Yeah.
Sorry, it's because my computer is like stuck. It's slow for some reason. So it's like I had help me real quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you good, or you want to?
Give me like a second. Sorry.
If anything, you could probably just follow along with.
Okay.
If you guys want.
Ahmed, is it your computer just kind of not responding, or you're stuck and stuck in there?
Yeah, it's my computer, and I can barely hear Frank too. So like it's staticky for some reason. I asked Aja if it's happening to her too, but she said no, hers is fine. So I guess it's just my computer.
Okay.
So that's why I kind of missed the whole instruction part in the beginning, and I was like, oh, what are we doing? Because it was kind of like mumbling jumbo kind of thing.
Yeah, good thing we hit record, so we'll be able to kind of go back to that.
Yeah. I'll probably most likely just follow along.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
like it takes like a second for my computer to respond to anything. All of a sudden, he wants to act up.
How about everybody else? Were you able to get the database loaded?
Yeah.
Gabriel, Ryan, Woodsley, yeah.
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 Maybe we should ask this question.
Yeah. Yeah, for some reason it says when I do the whole, it says the database, OST master database 2021 needs to be updated to work with this version of on-screen takeoff.
Okay. I'll take a look at it maybe after this session and make sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'll just watch Aja.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah, you
Frank,
had.
I got this. I got
Yeah,
the
I got
same.
it too.
Oh,
I'm
did
just
you?
kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not
Maybe
special.
is the license activated?
It
Maybe.
should be. I think all the stations have this. We all have the same license. So
It says, do I want to do this now? Do you want me to experiment?
you don't have to, because you probably want to follow along with everything else that we're going to do with loading the why don't you maybe show me? I'll stop.
Okay.
Just show me real quick and then see if it's something that might be just.
You can see my screen.
Mhm.
So this is the message that I get. If I press no, it'll say error opening it. So I'm wondering, should I just try and update
Okay,
it
so
now? and
click
see?
on open and you're clicking on that one there. Okay,
Yes.
click okay.
Click OK. It says, do I want to do this now?
Yeah, go
I can
ahead.
try
Go
it?
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, then that's it.
You're done. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Easy now. So if you do get that now, we know. Okay.
Just curious, maybe we can just check what people have right now. Like if we go to
Version.
help, I think it's a help. Help, and then at the very bottom, about on-screen takeoff. I'm running version 3.97.
Let's see. Yeah, see 3.95 or 3.02.
I'm
Yeah,
at 3.97.2.
Yeah, and I haven't updated, and reason for that has to do kind of more with the users. We're due for an update with so I just kind of I didn't want to kind of change the whole training session, but yeah, it looks like mine's outdated as well. Post 95.
The good thing is that it's not Revit, and we are able to just update it before
Right now,
everybody gets to update.
it would crash everything. Yeah,
So we're good. All right. So I think that might have been what was going on there with Aja.
yeah. It could be. Okay, so everyone else, I think we're good with, we opened the database. Now we're gonna move on to yeah. So this is what everyone should be seeing. Walters and Wolf OST database. And you might have others, that are open, but at least you'll have this one here. Once you click open. So now we're gonna jump into creating a database. Here's some examples that we want to do. And again, if you guys want me to pause for anything, just let me know. So, typically we want to do we want to create a new database just to keep the size of the database at a reasonable size. You want to do it like maybe once a year. And examples here are you're going to put in the year 2020, 2021, and then fiscal year, and then your name. So you'll click on File, New Database. And then you get this pop up. That's, which one you select. Microsoft Access Database. You'll enter the name of the database. And then you click OK. And then the database will create it. So I'll do that right now. And you guys could kind of follow along. So we'll do. Yeah. So you probably have a few there. Database. This will pop up. You click on the first one. We'll say 2021 fiscal year, and then just like that. We'll leave Imperial. We'll leave everything else so the same, and just click OK. And then your database will show up. And it'd be this one here, this new one that got created. Any questions on that? Creating the database? Everyone was able to do it? Pretty simple, right? Okay. That's really creating it. And now what we want to do is we want to, the master database that we brought in at the beginning, we want to sync that in so that now that you're ready to start your projects, you want to sync it and get all, if I go back, just to show you, if I wanted to start something here, like a new, if I'm clicked here, not in the master, but if I'm clicked in the new database that I just created, and I go create a new project, I have nothing here to select from. Just want to show you guys that, right? And that's the reason why you want to sync with that database. So it will change once we go through that sync. So to synchronize the database, You want to know which is your source database and which one's your destination. So the source will be the master database, the one we uploaded. And then your destination database will be the new one you created. So to do that, you're going to click on Tools and Synchronize Database. You're going to click here. You're going to click on the source database. You're going to select the one, the W&W, and then your destination will be your new one. Kind of almost the way it's shown on here. You're going to check this one here. So you want to bring the menus, and then you click Start. So I'm going to walk through that in OST. You're going to Tools, Synchronize, and my source database will be the Walters and Wolf, and then my destination will be the new one, that 2021 fiscal year. So sometimes when you flip it, I don't know which order it does it. Sometimes it'll pick something else. You want to, right before you click Start, you want to make sure that this didn't switch to something else. So source, database, destination, we'll click that, we'll click Start. Once you click Start, it should be quick. And it's done. So now when I go to the new one, to the new database, if I click new, like a new bid, so you get the class type, which was in there. You get to select your estimator and everything else. So that's just kind of gives you an idea. There's condition styles and all of that, but that's a quick check to see if it got synced or not. So any questions on that synchronizing database? Well, pretty straightforward, right? Okay, so OST database folders. I mean, this shows you where the folders. You're mainly going to be concerned with your database folders are located, which is where we created, where we copied the master database, and where if I go to that folder, you guys can go to your C drive, OCS, documents, OST. You'll see the master database that we copied, and then the new database was this one. Every time you create a new database, it'll go into this folder. So that's kind of the folder location. And I know, Brian, you were asking me about this. I mean, we don't, well, this will probably get updated. I mean, once you have your master database, that's kind of until we do more updates, that we really, as long as you know where everyone knows where your main folder is. So if you wanted to get to it, you go, just to show you, Tools, go to Tools, Options, Folders. You wanted to see where that's at. Everyone should look the same. Okay. All right, so now, no questions on that. We're going to do the setting up for a new project. You have your database all set up. You're ready to start working. You synchronized. You've got all your database ready to go. You created a new database. So we're going to start. We're going to download a sample project that's uploaded in Teams, and it's also going to be in general. It's going to be a folder. So if you guys want to walk through that, go download sample project. It's in K Drive 2.0 OST Training, and click download. So I'll do that as well. One thing I'll point out is this is going to download a zip file because it's a folder, but that's okay. That's done. You're going to go to downloads. You're going to grab this OneDrive, file that got created. You're going to move it similar to what we did with the database, and you're going to put it in your C drive. So once you do this, look at the PowerPoint, you're going to grab it from here and move it into, again, the same folder, OST. And then you're going to, this step isn't here, but you're going to want to extract that OneDrive, and it's going to create an extract a folder called OST Training 2021. Anybody have any issues with doing that? You able to bring it? Okay. So this one is, this is exactly what you should have, the OST Training 2021. And there's gonna be some PDFs in there that we're gonna go through. So if everyone has that, now we can move over to creating a new bid. Everyone's good? Everyone, do I need to pause for anything or should I keep going? Good. Okay, let me know. So we're gonna go through creating a new bid. You know, you're gonna click on the little $ there, click new, you're gonna get the pop-up, and we're gonna enter a similar info here, the job status, the job name, and then you select yourself, and then you're gonna click OK. Let's do that. So again, you don't want to be in this database. You want to be in this one, the one that you created, just to point that out. Not that it would do anything wrong, but you want to kind of keep that separate. You want to stay in your new one. So you click on new, a little sign here, you click on the class. Say it's a class 1 bid, and I'll give it a name. Select myself, and here, if you wanted to pick a bid date, you put all this here, and for this portion, I think just click OK, and your new bid will get created there. And you should get a pop-up as well. There you go. So it loads your project. So it's blank. There's nothing there. So anybody have any issues doing that? Good. Okay. So that's creating the new bid. And then you want to do the image management. Is, you know, you want to bring in some PDF files, architectural documents. That folder that we copied over is the folder that we're going to be working through or pulling the sample files. So you're going to click on. We're going to open that up. We're going to click on the icon here, the bottom, the one in the middle, and it's going to pop up the folder. You want to go to OST Training 2021. You want to select all the files, and if you have the older version like myself, you're probably going to get a pop-up like this that says, "Do you want to convert?" You guys tell me if you get that, or if you don't get that, it's just going to load that. But that's okay, because I'm gonna skip that and we're gonna go. So does anybody? Well, let's walk through that first. We're gonna. If you don't get that, you want to click on the cover sheet. Is everyone on this part where you're loading the images, about ready to load?
No, I'm stuck on a screen that says create linear condition, create area condition, create count condition. When I got the pop-up from the last one, it asks me create a linear condition, create an area condition, or create a count condition.
I don't think we're there yet. Yeah.
Probably just close it, exit out, and
Close it?
Yeah. Close
Okay.
that. Go to cover sheet. As long as you're in the new database, right? The new bid,
Mhm. Okay.
and you get this pop-up. Right. So if we're at the pop-up, now we want to load the architectural documents. So we click on this icon here. And then you're going to scroll. I mean, this one's already defaulted to go there, but you're going to go to C drive, OST Training 2021, and you're going to select all these files here, just the PDFs. You're going to click on open, and this is the pop-up. I'm getting a pop-up. I'm gonna say no. Does anybody else get the pop-up? I'm thinking no. If you probably have a newer version, so you probably don't get the pop-up. So I'm gonna say I'm not to convert, so that we can actually convert them. So I'm gonna say no. And then get me back to OST, but it's gonna load the PDFs. Hopefully you guys got the same thing where it's just loading the full PDF. So the part that used to prompt you to convert them, it's just a lot easier. I mean, the little clip here, you want to convert the PDFs to Tiff, because it improves especially when you have a big document, it improves the processing when you're working on OST. It's so much faster. If we were to keep them in PDF, it's not that it wouldn't work. It's just it's a lot slower. So when you're at this menu, you're going to click OK. Because now you brought them in. You're probably going to get the cover sheet of your architectural project as soon as it finishes, or it might stay on page 1. I'll flip to that. You also might have a page 1 too. So as soon as this comes up, see, I mean, you'll see that. Right now it's all in PDF. So we're going to go to image. You really want to walk through the image tab and then convert to TIFF. And then it tells you that there's multiple pages. You sure you want to do this? And we're going to say yes. It'll take, put this up here. There's 15 pages. You know, if you're doing a bigger project, it's probably going to take a little longer. But for this, you know, you'll let it, watch it go through. You know, 15 pages should be pretty quick. Anybody have any issues with?
I'm so sorry, Frank. I got distracted for a second and I totally missed the
Okay,
convert to TIFF.
got it. As soon as this is done, which is pretty quick, I'll click on it again.
Unless you want to walk them through it right now, it's in the image tab.
Yeah, if you click on this image, and then I'm not going to get the
At
pull
the
down.
very bottom, there should be an option, convert current image to TIFF.
Yeah, wait till this is done. It's almost done. It's covering 15 pages.
Oh, I see. I just needed to go forward 1 page because I was in a blank page.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah, you know, I had the same thing at the beginning. It was like page 1. It's the default page that's there before you bring the architecturals. See, like now, what Pedro was saying, you click on the image. Well, see, it's not going to give me that because it's already converted. But you click on convert to TIFF. So if I go to open that cover sheet again to look at all the architectural sheets, now they're all reading TIFF. Everything is converted over to TIFF. And it's just a lot faster when you're working through this, you know, as you're working on your takeoff, all that. So.
Something else, I don't know, maybe we can talk about it right now, Frank.
Mm-hmm.
If we go back to that cover sheet, we could delete that very top page 1 if we select it and then hit that little red X at the bottom. And because we brought in individual sheets of PDFs, they're a little bit out of order. So if we want to rearrange those, we could do that as well.
Yeah.
Because the cover sheet or the title sheet.
This guy could go up here. You can move it. Yep.
And it's the little red, the triangle at the bottom right corner.
Yeah.
Bottom right of that menu.
This guy.
Yeah, that one.
Or
Because I don't
you
think we
can
talked
drag, I
about this
think.
in the last training, but
Yeah. Well, you know what we were doing in the last training? We were having to rename the whole, which is something new that, I mean, it's good to talk about. We were having to rename them, but now we're actually taking architectural documents that were extracted from Bluebeam, and then you're just open. I mean, it's a big time saver. I mean, like you're saying, I think right here it's nice because you could orient, you know, that way you have them in the right order. I think that was the only sheet that was really.
just that one.
Right. It was just that cover sheet. Yeah. So now I think if we click OK, it'll take us to the cover sheet. Will be the very first sheet. The Advanced headquarters. Yeah. No, that's good. I mean, that's a good thing to point out that you can cycle through those, move them up and down in case they come in like that one came in out of order.
I'm sorry, could you go to how you converted them one more time?
Sure. So you want to go once you're in this menu or in this platform, you want to click on image and scroll down all the way to the bottom. Mine is grayed out, but if you haven't converted yet, it's going to show you, give you the option to click convert. Current image.
Mine is still grayed out.
Let's
I
see.
don't know
Oh, I
why.
think
So you
So I
probably
think-
already converted. Yeah? Let's see
No,
that.
I never.
So if you click the arrow once, it'll change sheets, and then
Oh, yep.
it'll change sheets, and then you'll be able to do the image, and then it shouldn't be grayed out anymore.
But it sounds like yours is grayed out, right?
So I imported them and then I don't know.
But
I think it,
yeah, show us real quick. And I mean, if anything, I think you might, I don't know if maybe they're already converted.
no, I think it is what Gabriel's talking about. So she's on that first cover sheet, which is not really an image at that point. So yeah, if you go to the next page, you should be able to get
Oh,
the option.
oh,
There.
okay.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah. So
Yeah,
you wanna
maybe a
click-
good habit, like a good kind of habit to have, is to delete that first blank page.
When we do the cover sheet in the beginning, and so
Yeah,
it'll
when we-
automatically do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, let's see where we're at. So we loaded the files, we converted them over to Tiff. We showed kind of the cover sheet, how they came in, now they're converted to Tiff. Everyone's seeing my PowerPoint, the PowerPoint, right? Okay. And now we're gonna insert some condition styles. So the condition styles or the library is, we're gonna click on the little tab on the left where it says conditions, right click, you're gonna get the pull down and you're gonna say insert style set. When that pops up, you're gonna get a selection because you brought them over from the master database. You're gonna get these options. We're gonna click on highlighted scope and you're gonna click select. Once you do that, you're gonna get this menu of defaulted condition styles. So I'm gonna do that. Right click here, insert style set, and I'm gonna get that selection. And if something went wrong in the synchronizing, you're probably not going to have that. Or if you create a new database and you're trying to do this and you're not getting this pop up, you know, that's just kind of like a reminder. You probably want to synchronize before you try to insert your condition styles. So I'll click on highlighted scope and then I'll select. And then I'm going to get this selection. And this is kind of what's in that master database, you know, just some couple default condition styles. Any questions on that? No? Okay. So we've inserted, I think up to here, I think I'm gonna turn it over to Pedro so he can walk you through getting started. The getting started part, unless there's any questions on the setup part. Anybody?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. So I right click, insert style.
Yep.
And then
Yeah, you want to go here, right click, insert style set, and then you want to select for the purpose of this is just, you can do both or one highlighted scope and then hit select.
oh, I see. Okay.
And it's going to insert that. I mean, it's probably going to show up like that, you know, minimize, but at least you can click it now and you've got this. If you wanted to do like the other one that's there, which will be another training session, you select that one there. It's going to, when you do the details.
Sorry, I'm dumb. I thought it didn't work, but it was actually just collapsed.
Yeah, it just collapsed, right? Yeah, and it kind of hides in there. This thing will stay like that. You can't see it. All that shows up is a little plus that something got added. You have to actually click it to open it up. Everyone else was able to load the condition styles? Yeah. Okay. If there are no questions, I will turn it over to Pedro. I'll stop sharing and then you can kind of take it over from there.
Bring up the screen here.
You need me to close the PowerPoint or you're going to open?
I have it as read only.
Okay.
But
All right.
let me share the screen. Yeah, so something that just came to mind now, Gabriel, you were asking about like, hey, at the beginning, what is it? Like the database or Just real quick to talk about the mechanics of OST, it is kind of like a database driven thing. So the database is, if you were to imagine where all your jobs are going to be living in. So that database, the way we're doing it right now is by fiscal year. So any jobs that we're working on would be kind of they're calling it a bid, right? OST calls it a bid. That bid is a job for us. So the database has everything that's living in it. So every time we're going to get into it right now, but like the conditions that we just brought in, that style set, that's living in that database. So anything else that we create is going to be there for that database. But the more we get into it, the more you guys are going to kind of see how it works. So we'll just carry on here, getting started with the interface, renaming the architectural sheets. Probably won't have to do that, but we'll walk through the process in case you guys see that there. Setting the scale, and then we'll get into actually using conditions and actually taking off using the takeoff tools. So the interface, I think right now everyone should be kind of at the same stage where we loaded the drawings, we have the condition sets loaded. Right, I think we're good here. We can go into it. So looking at OST is really, if you were to imagine it as a smart PDF tool, similar to Bluebeam, but it is more geared up towards getting counts and helping us get those counts and organizing that so that later on we're able to view the takeoff data in this tab here. So the main interface, once you're actually in the project, we're going to be working in this image tab. If we're jumping around between jobs, we're going to be looking at this bids tab. And the bids kind of show you the collection of databases that we have. The database is the one with this little yellow icon. So right now we created the 2021 fiscal year database, and then we made a bid. And the name I gave it was OST Training 2021. So if we double click in that, if I double click on that one, it should bring me up to hopefully the window that everyone's on right now. So like mostly other programs, we have our menu bar up here with File, Edit, View, Tools. Tools are just mostly annotation tools, zooming in and out tools. Image gives you different options in regards to the image. We won't get into it today, but maybe in a training down the road, we can talk about an overlay image. But bid, just more data info about your bid. Master, kind of what Frank talked about earlier about the master info associated to the database. Digitizer we won't get into, and then training, there's just links to on-screens training and then additional help info there. So these tools right here where I'm hovering over are just kind of buttons similar to these right here. The zoom, same thing, just zoom options. The scale, this is an important one right here because this is what's going to set the scale to the sheet we're working on. So it's not for every page that we've loaded, but just for the sheet we're on right now. So if we cycle through another page and it has a different scale, we would have to set the scale on that page. Nothing to worry about here on this mark takeoff complete checkbox. Once we actually get into the takeoff, we'll have more tools available and we can talk about those further down right now. Just go back here. So over on my left side of the screen, and I think these could be arranged. I don't think I've modified much more from the standard default that comes in. So hopefully it looks similar to yours, but they could be rearranged a little bit differently. But this is the pan window where, depending on the size of it here, and how zoomed in you are, you can kind of just move around in there. Here we have the conditions toolbox, which is one of the big areas where we would be working on when we're doing a takeoff. Here we'll be able to have all of our conditions, which is pretty much every takeoff item that we would be using on this project. And then down below we have the layers window. I think that's,
I don't have the layers window.
if
Me
you
neither.
don't have, okay, if you don't have the layers window, let's see.
Yeah, it
What
should be-
about if we go to view, layers window?
Yep, that fixes it.
It
So
opens it
I
up.
don't know if that
It opens it up in like its own little,
pop up.
yeah, if you could drag it in, like right
Exactly.
now, yeah, by default, it puts like, it adds to your screen. You could probably pop it into it.
Right. Yeah, I think if it came in like this and it actually brought it over to my other screen.
I think by default, it puts it right in the, to the right of that.
It doesn't want to, okay. Yeah, it doesn't want to. So it was staying over on a different screen of mine, different monitor. But yeah, you can drag it over and have it come in here, or your preference. I like mine down below here. Everyone kind of has the same screen. Any questions? No? Okay. So renaming sheets. For the exercise we're on today, we don't need to do that because we brought in individual PDFs that were already named appropriately. But let's say we bring in one PDF that has multiple sheets in it. It's going to give it the PDF name that the PDF had itself, and then give it like page numbers at the end. And to rename those sheets, what you can do is right click on the first page that you're on and select rename page. Then you would get this menu here. It'll tell you kind of what the name is, and then a place where you can give it the right name that you want to give it. And then you would just do this, cycle through your pages, and then rename that accordingly. Any questions about that step there?
Nope.
Cool. A couple tips while we're on that screen there. Using the asterisk on your keyboard, it'll zoom to the page extent. So that works out pretty cool when you're working there. And then once you're renaming pages, if you hit the enter key twice, it'll just cycle through to the next page rather than grabbing your mouse and then hitting next page. And I skipped the first one, but we'll get into that one once we're actually using takeoff tools. Does anyone like keyboard shortcuts, or preferably not?
I do.
I'll put the keyboard shortcuts link in the chat, and you guys can check those out. I find myself using those quite often. Okay, so let's set the scale on these drawings. So to cycle through the pages, you can use this menu here, and it's this button right here. It's kind of like the triangle pointing to the right. It's one way to cycle through the pages. The other way is just to hit the page down on your keyboard, and it'll cycle through them. So I'm going to go back to page 2, and I'm going to look for the scale that the drawings are calling for, which is 1/8 inch equals a foot. So I'm going to come up here and change that to 1/8 inch equals a foot. So we got lucky, and 1/8 inch equals a foot is a default scale that OST is set to. And let's just, maybe we can do all of these since it's only 15 pages. This sheet also has 1/8 inch. This one does too. So does this one. That's also 1/8 inch scale. Same thing there. After you've kind of zoom extents for like 2 pages, it'll notice that you're doing that, and it'll ask if you want to do that to all the pages. You can hit yes here. I think we're only working with 1/8 inch. Okay, so here we have a mix of details, and this is really, we're not really going to be doing a lot of takeoff in this page. Whenever we are highlighting details, it's probably going to be more than likely when we're doing our highlighted details, which at that point, the scale doesn't matter a whole lot, other than if you're pulling dimensions, right? So if you're using the dimension tool, right now, it's not going to be set to the right scale. So if you're working between details, I would maybe advise that you use Bluebeam for dimensioning. Otherwise, yeah, if there's like details that have multiple scale, like this one has 1.5 inches equals a foot, this one has 3 inches equals a foot, you have to kind of pick and choose which one you want to go with. But again, I don't think we're going to be doing a lot of takeoff in this view. So just for now, I'll pick 3 inches equals a foot in case we wanted to mention some of these details. And same thing for this one. A lot of these details are 3 inches, so I'm going to just change it to that there. Any questions on the scale?
No.
So let's talk about calculating scale. So if we get drawings that are not to scale, we could actually set the scale on those, similar to the calibration tool in Bluebeam, although this one is a little bit less intuitive. I'm just gonna pick page 4 of the our list here. Actually, I'm gonna look for a page that has some dimensions on it. Okay, so I'm gonna zoom in here. We can zoom in by grabbing our zoom toolbar up here, or if you like, the keyboard shortcut is just Z. And I'm gonna zoom in down in here. And then to calculate the scale, we're going to go to Edit, Calculate Scale. This one's the one where you guys have to follow a little bit closely because there's no actual like command or instructions like in Revit telling you kind of which step you're on. So if you go to edit, calculate scale, you're gonna get this menu. And once you're in here, you want to enter the length of the known linear dimension. So let's work off of this one here and say that we want to, that is going to be 5 feet. Right now, probably it's also a good time to talk about the way OST functions. Whenever you're entering dimensions in OST, the last 2 digits are always your inches. So if you were to just say 5, it's going to take it as 5 inches. So if you say 500, it's going to take it as 5 feet 0 inches. We wanted that to be 5 foot 6 inches, then it'll just be 5 foot 506. So again, the last 2 digits are our inches. And here is where it doesn't really tell you which step you're on, but after you type in 500 there, you can actually come in here and click one click, hold it, and then release at the end of that dimension point. And then it's going to calculate the scale for you. So a good tip here is to zoom in as close as possible whenever you're working with the drawing, because the closer you are, the more accurate the calculation is going to be. Once you've kind of done that there, you can hit OK. And then anytime you pull a dimension now, we should be pretty close to that scale that you calculated there. This drawing though, we know that it's 1/8 inch equals a foot, so I'll probably swap it back, but that's kind of how you do that there. Any questions with that step there? Pretty good. Okay, so now I think this is the fun part here, is where we're actually working on taking off items and using the conditions, which is basically our takeoff tools. So the top 3 takeoff tools that we'll be using are linear takeoffs, which is best for a linear takeoff. And you could also get your footage off of this. If you were to imagine you're taking off a lineal length, give it a height, you can get square footage off of that. Area takeoff is simply takeoff primarily in elevations, right? You're drawing like a box or some kind of polygon to come up with your takeoff tool there. And then count is basically a count. You can give it width and height, so you can also get your footage off of that. But it's basically a count tool. So let's get into those. So going back into OST, when we synchronize, we brought in these 4 items in here. So under highlighted scope, we brought in aluminum storefront doors, a pair. So if we double click on that one, you're gonna get this window here. And you'll notice that this right here is a count function. You can give it a name. So the name is gonna be this header that it's gonna be under. And if you wanted to give it a layer, you could. So right now we're working with aluminum storefront doors, specifically the pairs. I'm going to give it a layer. I'm going to say these are my doors. And if you wanted to rename these, you could. You could maybe say Walters and Wolf. But this right here is just the name that you're going to give it to take off items in OST. So maybe it is a good idea to just keep it organized for you, something that you know what you're working on. Right here, Walters and Wolf doors, it's really just for me to show you guys that you could rename it, but it's going to give it a pretty lengthy name over here as well. So I'm just going to back that out. The height and the width, it's something you can give it here, although we are working with a shape and we're giving it a square. So it's only going to take one of these, and I think it takes the width when we're doing that. But you can also give it another shape, right? So I'm going to select the circle. And I'm going to keep it at 6 feet. Actually, I'm going to go 6 by 6. So it's like a round circle. Count. So actually, I skipped this area here. The color, there's no standard color for anything when we're counting here. You can pick your colors. The pattern, typically transparent, is what we're working with. And then in here, we're going to get into the results that we're looking off of this takeoff that we're doing. So for now, we're only going to be looking for a count and just give us the each count of those. So if you hit OK, you should be in your crosshairs, letting you know that you are in takeoff mode. I'm not sure if you're going to get the full window crosshairs. That's one of the preferences there, but you should be in takeoff mode. Is everyone kind of there? Thumbs up, we're good?
Not great.
All right, where are we?
So I'm clicking. So I'm putting the settings circle, and then you said 6 by 6.
You wanna share your screen? It might help. It might help the processing. And maybe everyone's having similar.
I doubt it.
No, that's what this is. This is good for. It's like to get.
Oh, no, I'm with you, Gabriel.
So we said 6 6 circle. We're good,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, so you see your crosshairs. You do have your crosshairs in the right format right now, which means you're ready to click.
So I would
yeah,
just
if you were to click the pair, there you go.
Oh, okay. But
Yeah,
now
see-
I'm trying to zoom in.
Okay, there you go.
But then I think it goes. Oh no, it's still here. Never mind. I thought it went away.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah, and
So
it,
to delete that one, you can hit the delete key on your keyboard. There you go.
yeah.
I
if
think
you
when you do
like-
the middle button,
Yeah, I was gonna
When
say, if
you
you
do
don't
that-
like the big blob, I think you could show them how to like, if you don't want it to take over the whole circle, you can go by half that size as well.
Right.
I think it does take that 6 foot dimension, right?
Yeah, and for me, that's a preference thing.
Mhm.
Because what I do with doors, I give it the 3 foot, and it also just adds another back check that, hey, the doors are 6 foot wide.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because
And I
you could
think-
have 8 foot doors, and if you make a 6 foot circle, it kind of
Mhm.
just flags it that, hey, that door's oversized. But
and
everyone
I think
else,
when you're doing it, for like zooming in and out, you have to middle click, and
I
then
do
it'll
that,
go to
yeah.
zoom, and then you middle click out, and it'll go back to the command.
Right.
Yeah,
And
you
then
can
the-
I
also
didn't know that.
you can also hold control, I think.
Oh, okay.
right
Yeah.
click and drag is the little hand.
Oh, got it. Right click and drag is it. Okay. And okay. Yeah, because I was like, I don't know how to move around the screen in the command.
Oh, yeah, if you hit control and then you use your wheel on the mouse, you
Mhm.
can zoom in and out.
Yeah, that one feels weird.
And if, I think, so let's see, let's walk through a couple little tips that I just noticed I did kind of without even thinking about.
Thinking about it.
Yeah, so if you are in this mode, takeoff mode, which means you're ready to click, but you want to zoom in, you could hit the spacebar on your keyboard And that cycles between the selection tool and the takeoff tool. So I'm hitting the space bar. So right now that I'm in this mode, I could hit Control and then zoom in with my wheel. And then I hit space bar to kind of go back to takeoff mode and click. Yeah, because if I hold Control, then I can zoom out.
You could
Actually-
also, as Aja was mentioning, if you have it like this, you do one click on the wheel and it'll do zoom, and then one click again and it'll go back to the tool.
Yep. So there are a couple of options about zooming in. Yeah, I guess you can play around and see which one works easiest for you. I just got
This is
used
the
to
fun
it.
part.
Yep. Okay, so we played around with the pair. So right now we're playing around with these options that came in here, right? But let's say we wanted to make our own, something that you wanted to work to kind of suit the job you're working on. And I mean, this job I haven't looked at in a while. And I guess a lot of us, it's probably a new job for us. So I'm gonna go to the elevations. If we click in the page, this drop down view here, I'm gonna go to that first exterior elevations page. And I just wanna see what the job looks like. So it looks like we have some window wall, some more window wall maybe, and then a lot of curtain wall up above. Right, a lot more curtain wall up above, window wall down below. So let's make a condition for these, for this curtain wall. So let's say we were ready to take off the exterior curtain wall. And we're gonna go to page 10 here. And we're gonna make a new condition. We're gonna right click, new condition is one way to do that. Or we can hit the plus sign, condition. Once you do that, you're going to be here in this menu. For this curtain wall scope that we want to take off, we're going to use the area tool. For the type, we'll call it curtain wall. It's going to say that it was not found. Do you want to add it? Yes. And then you should get another menu. Every time you bring in something new to the database, you're going to get this menu pop-ups here. And we're going to select yes again here. For the name, I'm also going to call it, I'm going to call it main curtain wall. I mean, there's only one curtain wall, but we'll just call it the main curtain wall. And for the layer, I'm also going to call it curtain wall. The thickness, when you're working with area, the thickness doesn't matter. So you can leave that at 4 inches. I'm going to change the color here. Sorry, before I do that, I got to select yes and select for my layer there. And then I'm going to change the color. I want to get the area, but I also want to get the perimeter. So from this tool, this takeoff tool, I'm going to be using an area takeoff tool. And the main things that I want to use it for is to get my square footage and a lineal feet of my perimeter conditions. So I'm going to hit OK. And now I'm back into that takeoff mode. And I'm going to zoom in. So the way I'm doing it, I'm hitting control, I'm like holding control on my keyboard and then using my mouse to zoom in. But you can also maybe hit the zoom toolbar, zoom into that area, find one that works for you. Once everyone's here, I'll give you guys a few seconds. Are we all here, or do we need a minute?
Yeah, Pedro, you could, I know you're doing the new conditions, right? In the same, if you wanted to kind of maybe talk about how you could use the defaults that are there, and you could just really, they're there, you could just change the name or
Right.
add that, like if you wanted to use that one there, you could just start, you could even change the color, maybe, whatever works for you. It's
Okay.
intended to kind of, yeah, help you get started.
Right. So yeah, I mean, when we brought in this style set, it comes in under this heading, highlighted scope. And when we're doing the highlighted scope, sometimes it could be just for kicking it off to our internal groups. But you can also use this for your takeoff if the job allows it for. For example, like you could just be highlighting for presentation where the quantities don't matter as much. But if you can get the scope highlighted and also get your quantities taken off at once, that's great. So let's assume that we are going to be able to use one of these conditions that we brought in from our style set. So this unitized glazing system number 1, you can use it, and you can also keep it under this highlighted scope section. Or if you want to organize your takeoff because the job's busy and you want to maybe organize that a little bit differently, you can also rename everything in this menu box. So we're going to keep it with the area tool. I'm going to keep it under this highlighted scope section, and I'm going to call it, let's say we're going to call it System 1 and curtain wall. System 1 is really just, sometimes architectural drawings, they designate different system names to curtain walls. Here, I'm not seeing that, but just showing you guys, you can rename it in here. I do want to create a layer for it. I'm going to call it curtain wall. So because we made one earlier, it knows that we have that option there available. And I want to get the same things out of it, right? Area and area, actually not area counts. I want to get perimeter. So it'll give us the perimeter feet around whatever we take off. So after that, I hit OK, and it just made the changes to the naming, and I'm back in takeoff mode. Do we need a minute to kind of catch up there? We're good? Cool. All right, so again, I'm going to zoom in here just to kind of get a closer area where I can begin clicking. So there's 2 main ways you can take off when you're in area. You can click and hold and go all the way to the other corner because it's just a rectangle. And I'm getting as close as possible to the edge there. And I noticed that I'm a little bit short on the height. So this one, I'm zooming out, looking for these grips where then I can just stretch it up a little bit more. And the closer you are, the more accurate you'll get. So I zoomed in real close, and I was able to kind of just do that there. That was the click and hold and releasing method. If it wasn't a rectangle, you can just do 1 click and then click all your points, right? But you can see the click and hold works pretty nicely when it is a rectangle. And if you are using the click and point method, once you're at the point where you're ready to finalize that takeoff mode, you can hit space, the space bar, and it'll just finish it for you. So once you have that done, it's going to summarize it here in this conditions window. So for this blue space we just took off, we have a little over 9,000 square feet, and then we have 616 lineal feet of perimeter. So the perimeter is just going around that rectangle there. And now I'm going to go to the east elevation, and I'm going to do the same thing. So right now I am in the selection tool. I'm just going to hit space bar. It's going to swap back to the last takeoff tool that I was on. And I'm going to zoom in again. Click, hold, go to the other endpoint. And release. Once you have those two takeoff items there, you'll notice that it's going to summarize it up in here. So it doesn't break it out, and it just sums it up on the page you're on. So if we were to have the same takeoff on the other sheet, it's not going to sum it up in this view here, because all of these numbers are just pertaining to this sheet that we're on right now. Any questions about this tool? Do we need a minute here to play around with that?
I have a question. How do you know how in Bluebeam you hold a shift key and it makes it ortho, like no straight line? What is the equivalent of this one?
I think this one's going to be in options. So tools, options. I think I might have had that selected. I think it's this one. Restrict lateral? No, I don't think it's that one. Never mind.
Yeah, I think that's when you're like moving objects.
Right.
Yeah.
So by default, is yours not ortho?
Well, sometimes I get the little like right angle, and it does show it, but let me try it again.
I think by default it is straight lines. Is it? Does anybody else see them? I think the last one, like right now, if you guys see my screen, all of them were ortho except for this last edge that I haven't finalized here. But once you get pretty close to that, then you get this suggestion by OST that, hey, you're at a point where they're all squared. And then if I hit spacebar now, it just closes that up. But by default, I think all of them you should be starting out in squared lines.
Okay, yeah, I see it now. It does the little blue.
Right. Now, let's say you wanted to take off something that was diagonal, like a triangle, maybe something like that. But actually, if you wanted to start off going kind of in that direction that my crosshairs are on, I'm going to hold shift, and then that releases that lock. Right? If you hold shift, you can kind of unlock the ortho.
And how do you move the nodes again? Like, is there something?
Yeah, so you want to go back to the select tool and then select the item. And then you should be getting these little grips here. You have to select it though. If you don't, then you're not going to get those.
Okay, got it.
Cool. Any questions? All right. So now let's work on taking off these openings here at the ground floor. And these are more like a unitized strip window, it looks like. But assuming it was a window, and we want to count these using the count function, what you want to know is what size is it. So I'm going to get my dimension tool and size that. So the dimension tool it's up here. And you can kind of get pretty close on that one as well. So it looks like a 25-foot opening. And I grab the height on it. I'm going to call it 25 by 7, right? So we're going to use this one that also came in here, and we're going to rename it. So I'm going to double click on that one. This one, I'm going to change the function. So rather than being an area takeoff, it's going to be a count. I'm going to keep it in the same grouping here, highlighted scope. But for this one, I'm going to call it ground floor strip windows. And then for the layer, I'll call it window wall. And here, I'm going to skip down to this section here, and rather than being square, it's going to be a rectangle. And then for the height, it's going to be 7 feet, so 700. The width is going to be 25 feet, 2500. And then the depth, don't be worried about this one giving you like a 3D volume. The depth is really, you can use the height here as well for the depth. So I'm going to go 7 feet here. Otherwise, OST won't know how to do the math here. I'm going to change the color again, maybe to this orange color here. And for this one, the first thing I'm concerned about is the footage. So I want to get the surface area of the single width side. Otherwise, it would give you kind of like if you were taking off a stud wall, drywall on both sides. Here we just want to get single width side, the footage, and then the next thing I want to get is a count. Give it a few seconds here. So again, we're doing a count. We renamed it, assigned the layer to it. The condition number doesn't matter a whole lot. It's just for OST to know how many condition tools it's having. Here's where you want to put in your height, your width. For the depth, I'm always using the same as the height for that. And I'm going to display it 100% so that it highlights this same space in here. Surface area and count. When I hit OK, and now we're in takeoff mode. So where you want to click is in the middle of your object. So ideally somewhere around here so that it centers it pretty close to it. But if you want to move it up and down a little bit, you could use your arrow keys on your keyboard and just move it down a little bit. And now it looks good. It's giving you the footage for this opening and the count. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. This one is selected right now. You can see that it's got the little grip on it. I'm going to hit Control-C on my keyboard and then Control-V to paste it. And now I'm going to hit my space bar to go to my selection tool, and I can click, hold, and I should be able to bring it in here. Release, and it's there. You can also just go back and click, and then move those. But if you hit Control V, it's gonna know that you're kind of pasting something along these red dash lines, and it's gonna recognize that spacing. And if it's consistent, if you hit Control V, it's gonna do it just like you just last pasted. So because I had skipped one opening, it skipped it as well. I'm gonna drag it back. So the next time I paste it, it's gonna keep it in this spacing here. So I'm gonna hit Control V again. It's pretty close. I'm just using my arrow keys now to move it over. I think that was moving a little fast there, but we can play around with those. Any questions? You guys need a minute to play around with those? Yeah.
Hey, Pedro, I can't remember if in this presentation we were going to do like show the, I know you have it in the summary in the takeoff, but to show it actually on the sheet, you know, how to turn
Yes.
the legend and turn it on and off.
I think that's the next one.
Is it? Okay.
This part right here?
Well, no, that's in the takeoff, in the summary, but in the actual sheet. You know, because the summary is the one that you go to the tab, you can see all your summary. But to actually show
Right.
it, have it show up on your sheet. Like if you go back to
Oh,
your,
okay, yeah. Yep.
pull it up here,
The-
like you can. So
The
so you-
legend?
yeah, the legend, so you can check your counts as you're doing it.
Right.
Yeah, I think we talked about adding that to this, how to turn that on. You know, it's a very simple step, but just to show that. There you go.
Right. Okay.
I don't think we had it in the PowerPoint.
I don't think so either.
Mhm.
Yeah, I made a note to put that on for the next time. Are we good here? Questions? Cool. All right. So, yeah. So this button right here, image legend, brings up a legend of all the condition tools we've used so far. So on this page, we have just these two colors available, blue and orange. So it's going to bring over the name, and right now it's not showing the quantities. By default, I believe they do show, so I might have adjusted this on a recent project. So to do that, I believe it's in here. Yep. So to be able to adjust what's being displayed in the image legend, we're going to go to our cover sheet. We're going to go to preferences. And then over here in image legend, you can have it display just the first quantity, or you can check off first and second. Right now, I'm only going to display the first quantity, which is the footage, the quantity label, or the condition number. I wouldn't show the condition number because that's just the number that OST gives it. And then you can also change anything in here as far as how do you want to sort. If you want to sort it by name, by number, or condition type. So right now I'm only going to have it display quantity 1. I'm going to hit OK. And now it's displaying the system name and the footage. And these quantities are only the quantities on this sheet. So if we had multiple pages with takeoff, we would be missing that. The counts only show up on that page there. Any questions with the legend or any issues?
Yeah, I think, you know, a good one to show right there, since you have the legend on, Pedro. Like if you because I know it's happened, like for whatever reason, like change your scale while you were doing this, you would see those numbers change Like if you went to your scale and changed it, say to corner, you know, your
Okay.
drawings, like for whatever reason, it got your drawings, your footages are going to be off. You know, it only changed for the counts, but like for the curtain wall, it stayed highlighted the same way, but your footages, because the scale got changed, you would be, you know, that's a good flag if for whatever reason you're working on,
Right.
on drawings. Just a good,
Yeah.
quick turn on.
Yeah, no. And same thing if these fonts right here were a little too big for the drawing you're working on, you can adjust those. If you click on it, you should get an option to change the font or font size here. And it's going to ask if you want to do that for all the pages. You can hit yes. So it adjusted the size of it. But again, we changed the scale. And because our count takeoff, we were displaying it to 100%, we're able to see that, hey, we are completely off in here. So it's a, for me, it's a good habit to, when I'm using the count function, and if I'm highlighting the opening, that I give it that 100% scale, because it flags me if I'm off. You know, right away you can see that, oh man, I forgot to set the scale. And right here, you can just come back in here, pick the right scale. You're highlighting the right area. It's going to give you the right counts. So when you're doing counts, you're not going to be able to have this shape using the count function. So if this was a real job, I probably would have not used the count function to count this scope right here, because this would be a count and this would be an area. So I would more than likely just use the area takeoff for the whole job. But if it was a typical punched window job, it makes sense to use the count function for that. There. So we've used the area and the count. Any questions with those two tools or any issues with them? Okay, the next one's going to be our linear takeoff. Linear takeoffs are good for maybe taking off a guardrail in plan view. But if you, let's say we just were concerned about getting our perimeter caulking for our scope here, I'm going to just make, yeah, because we don't have one in here. So I'm going to make one for my caulking. I'm going to right click, new condition. It's defaulted to linear, so it's good. The type, I'm going to keep it under the same grouping. So I'm just going to call it highlighted scope. And I'm going to call this caulking or exterior caulking. The layer is also going to be caulking here. Now the thickness, here's where the thickness does matter, because it's going to display that thickness. So for the thickness, I'm going to bring it down to 2 inches. I'm not going to give it a height. And I'm only concerned about a length. At this point, I'm good to hit OK. And then you're in takeoff mode. You can click and click and point. Once you're ready to finish that one, you can double click and it terminates that one. You can also move these around. So cycling through takeoff mode and the select tool. Once you're in select tool, you can click, it's going to select it, and then you can use your mouse, the keyboard, the arrows, and you can move those if you need to. So right now it's giving us 60 lineal feet of this one here. If you wanted to do this one, you can do that again, or you can also be in the select tool, select all of these, hit Control C to copy, Control V to paste it, and then you can bring that over to that opening. Lineal takeoff tools, good one. If we have something that we're counting on the curtain wall, like if we had fins, we can probably get a count of that way. Yeah. Those are the three main tools.
So I had a quick question for the legend. I'm clicking on because mine, the font is super small,
Okay,
but I'm clicking on it and I don't see an option to resize the,
the scale on that.
yeah.
So you did, is it selected? Is it giving you these dashed lines
Yep.
around it? So I think you probably just can't find this one. So let's see if we can turn that on. I wonder which toolbar this is.
If you drag it out, I think it's called, let's see.
I don't know where it went now. I think I have the same problem now. I can't find it.
So you think it's hanging out in my
In
desktop
some other
somewhere?
window.
Oh, I see it now. Yeah, it was behind the zoom.
Yeah, maybe you can drag it over. See, I still can't find mine. Trying to hunt it down, sorry. Can't find it. I don't know where it went.
Yeah, I think it moves it somewhere out of the screen. I think you might have to like shut it down.
So it's that one, view toolbars text format. I just can't find it. Does everybody have it kind of built into their menu bar?
No, mine popped up and I actually saw it. So I was able to drag it to the toolbar, but it was tiny. I was like, what is this?
Yeah, it does put it somewhere out of your screen, out of the OST, when you drag it out of there.
Okay. Hopefully it's a one-time deal and once you have it in there, it just stays there. All right. So we've gone through these three takeoff functions. Any questions with those? All right. So next, the takeoff tab. This is where it summarizes your entire takeoff and can be copied to Excel, where you're able to summarize kind of everything.
I'm sorry, Pedro, I did have a quick question. On that caulking that you did, and then you gave it a, was it a width of 2 inches?
Right.
But we only saw oh, I guess it's gonna show up right now on the takeoff tab, the 2-inch dimension.
Not necessarily. No, so that 2-inch.
It's just the thickness of the line.
Yeah, the thickness of the line.
Oh, I see.
Now,
so if we had
let's say,
different size joints, we would have to make different conditions.
let's say, okay, good point. let's say we were taking off this because we wanted to send it over to Valley for quoting. And we know that at the head, we were going to use a 2-inch cock joint. But let's say the rest, jams and sill, had a 1-inch joint. So if you want to duplicate kind of the takeoff that you're using, you can hit this one here, duplicate condition. That duplicates it as far as the name and everything else that was built into that. So the layer, the thickness, but now we want to rename this one that we just duplicated and call it 1-inch. And instead, I'm still going to display it as 2-inch thick, but I know that this line item is going to be for my 1-inch joints, right? Or I can also change this to display a 1-inch thick line, but it might be a little bit skinny, a bit light there. But let's see how that looks. So right now we have a new condition for 1-inch joints. So you can either delete these and start all over, or you can select these by going to the select tool, clicking, holding, dragging, and it selects all of these. Once that's done, you can come in here, click on this one, right click, and then reassign objects. Do you want to reassign objects? Yes. So if you go back to the select tool, click out here, it reassigns that. So now you have 80 feet of the blue stuff, right? So it's both of these openings, and then 40 feet of just the cyan color. So we forgot about these. Let's do the same thing. Click, hold to select these, and then right click, reassign objects. Yes, I want to do that. And now I have 1-inch joints and 2-inch joints.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, we haven't gotten into duplicating and reassigning. That might be a next phase, but if you guys have any questions or when we can talk about these, that was a good one because that could happen when you're taking off. All right, so now let's go to the Takeoff tab. So we are in the Image tab, right? That's where we're gonna have our PDFs and we're doing our takeoff. If we go to the Takeoff tab, this is where it summarizes all the takeoff that we've done for this project. So we took off 1 pair of doors, took off some exterior caulking at 1 inch, some exterior caulking at 2 inches. We took off 6 strip windows consisting of a little bit over 1,000 square feet. And then we had our main curtain wall with over 12,000 square feet there. If you wanted, it doesn't summarize all your footage here, or it doesn't give you the kind of like the availability to do any of that similar to an Excel. But if you wanted to take this data into Excel, maybe you want to sum up a few lines, you can click and hold, release. It's going to select this. I'm going to hit Control C to copy. I'm going to open up Excel. It's bringing up a new window here. I'm going to open up a new document. I'm going to click in here and hit Control V to paste it. So it should bring all of this into here. And here's where you can kind of format it so that, it displays the full name. This right here, it's this column. the condition. So it's the OST condition number, which don't mean anything. It's just for OST. You can delete these. Here, it's bringing in the height of that tool if it had any. You can keep these or delete these. It's really up to you. So I'm gonna just delete all of those because they're a little bit irrelevant to this right here right now. But we have our door count, we have our caulking, and we have our glazing systems, right? So you can play around with this based on the job that you're working on. But let's say I wanted to get a few counts. So I wanted to just maybe have a total to tell Valley, hey, the total caulking on this job is 120 lineal feet of that. So you can do that here. So I just did a formula to sum those up. And then just adding some notes so that I don't forget what that was. So it's my 120 lineal feet. And if I wanted to sum up all my glazing systems just to know kind of what the job is looking like, I'm going to sum those up, make that bold. And same thing, this is square feet. So total on the job we have right now just under 14,000 square feet, 120 linear feet of caulking, and 1 pair of doors. Any hiccups, issues with this? Okay. Printing. So if we wanted to print our highlighting that we've done in OST, we'll walk through that there. And before we actually do that, let's work on another page, another sheet. So I'm going to go back to image because right now I've only done work on this page right here. I'm going to go over to the next page and I'm going to take off some more work. So I'm going to get the system 1 curtain wall. I'm going to zoom into this lower elevation here, and I'm just going to take that off as well. I'm going to zoom out. So now on this page here, we have a little bit over 3,800 square feet of glazing. So now we have scope on 2 pages. I don't know, we have a little bit less than 15 minutes and we're near the finish line. So if we take like 3 minutes, maybe we can play around with different tools here. I don't know, maybe any questions?
Hey, Pedro, I could show, I found how to bring back that image, look, because it looks like it happened to all of us. So maybe let me show that real quick, because it looks like across the board it went.
I lost it completely.
Yeah, no, I know, but I did too. I think it happened to all of us while we were in the middle of that. So you know, like yours, mine's gone up here, and so I did find that the tool bar, it is a toolbar. It's this guy right here that's off. If you guys can see that, it's the text format. So if I click it on, it's still not going to show up anywhere. It's like on the, I had to like minimize all my screens and bring it. It kind of floats, and you can't drop it in here. You have to draw. If I drop it here, is the same thing. It kind of disappears. So you got to drop it up there, and that's the only way to kind of bring it back. Kind of vanished in one of the monitors and one of the screens. So anyway, if you guys have that, looks like it happened to a few of you guys, so including me. So
But you still have to like minimize everything and look for it.
yeah, I had all my screens just to find where it went, and then where to find the toolbar to turn it on and off, because it turned it off too. So
Does it bring it at the top of the window?
No, it brought it, so this screen, it brought it like on another screen at the bottom. You couldn't really see it. You'd have to click, first find this toolbar, this view toolbars, and it's this one here. And you
Right.
turn it on and off. You had to turn it on and off and find where it was kind of floating in and out of the screen. So anyway.
Yeah.
Be back to see.
So I found mine
Yeah, floating.
now, but yeah, because I have my taskbar at the top of the screen.
Mm-hmm.
So on my other monitor, it was literally hiding behind that taskbar. So I had to move it down to be
Yeah.
able to see it. But all right. So any questions? I don't know if you guys were playing around with OST or with this other page. So the main thing I wanted to do here is just have 2 pages where we have scope so that we can play around with that print function there. And then the other thing we can talk about is that anything we've done a takeoff on, it's going to be highlighted in blue. So it looks like, oh, the door. So we actually already had 2 pages. So now we're going to have 3 pages of takeoff. Are we good up to this point?
Yep.
Cool. All right, so now we're going to go over to File, Print. And right now it's set up to print to 100%, but we're using the wrong paper size. So right now it's going to default to whatever you last used. So I'm not sure if this is the first time using it, what your default scale is set up to, but let's go into setup. And I don't know, is this an E1?
Yeah,
Let's see.
I think it's 30 by 42, looks like.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so if you go to setup, it is a E1 format, set to landscape. So now you can see that the sheet fits perfectly within that space. And then the range, right now I want to print pages with takeoff. So it's going to cycle through and find everywhere where we had a takeoff and bring it into this view. So it's picked up 3 pages where we have takeoff. So this looks good. It's set to the right scale. We're showing all our takeoffs. If you guys notice, the font here remained bigger, and then over here it did change a little bit. So at this point, you're at a point where if you wanted to make those adjustments, you could close this and then go back and change the scale for all of them, or maybe there are times where it is better to have different scales based on the drawings, because there might be a busy drawing where you are needing to make this a little bit smaller just on one page. So let's keep it like this for now. Now I'm going to hit print. And then the next key point here is to, once you've selected the right printer that you wanted to go to, the key point here is the page range. We want to select all. All means all these 3 sheets. So not all the pages in the PDF, but just all the pages that we've told it to do. So the range here was just pages with takeoff, and it was just 3 sheets. So all 3 sheets, I want to print those. And now it's looking for, where do I want to save those? And here's where you can, if you have a spot that you're working on, maybe it's in the K drive. For now, I'm just going to put it in my desktop, call it test or training test, and give it today's date. And then I'm going to hit save. And now it's running the digital print because it was a PDF. It's still running, actually over here on the other page. Now it's trying to open up Bluebeam to display that. So this is what we just printed. So here's where we're going to see a door being highlighted. After it loads. And then the next pages are our elevations here. I think Bluebeam might be a better printer. Sometimes I have issues with it though, but did you guys have different options available for a PDF printer or just the Bluebeam?
I haven't
Wait.
tried.
You haven't tried it? Aja, you're muted. I think you're talking, but you're muted.
Sorry. I have Bluebeam, Microsoft Print to PDF, Microsoft XP, PDF Exchange. I have all of them.
Okay. And there are some settings where you can select the resolution, because I think this one, I don't know if it was a combination of the PDF that we were working with, and because we've done very little takeoff, but it was taking forever to kind of display it here.
Yeah, my Bluebeam one never works. Like I'll print and then it just doesn't do anything.
Okay, I know some people it works, but I think you and I have the same issue. Sometimes it just doesn't react.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a few minutes left. I don't know if there's any questions. Then before we kind of go into the very next step in here, which is just exporting the takeoff, which is not something that you'll do very often, but there are times where, let's say I started on it and I want to turn it over to someone else for them to kind of continue on with it. This is kind of what that process would be. So to export, we'll go to send, complete package, and then to file. It'll ask us if we want to send the images. We'll say yes and send all the pages, and then select the place to save that to. So let's walk through that. So that send button is right here, next to the cover sheet button. We want to go to complete package and to file. Here's where we're going to select all the images and all the pages. Once you hit create, it'll ask you for a place to save that. Where would be a good place for
I think the
that?
OST, yeah, that OST training folder that you have right there is probably a good one, which is
Yeah.
one word, right? Oh, you mean for
Okay.
everybody? Yeah,
Yeah,
we all have that same
Okay.
now.
yeah, the OST Training 2021 folder that we kind of have. I'm gonna put it in here, and I'm just gonna add my name to it at the end so you guys know which one that is. And I'm gonna hit save. Now, if you guys want to, on your guys' end, if you navigate to that folder, so OCS Documents, OST Training 2021, here's that file that I just exported. If you double click on this one, it's gonna add it to your OST, and you'll see everything that I've done to this point. Now, if you open it and you add stuff to it, I won't be able to see anything new that you've done until you re-export, and then I can get into it. So 2 people can't really be working on it at the same time, but you could share it so that someone else can take over. And we can get into this one later if there's some questions. Kind of just got here just under the 1 minute mark. I don't know if there's any questions or.
So
follow-up.
when you send it to somebody else to work on and they work on it and they save it and they send it back to you, and then they say they've sent it back, does it just update the old file? Or is it just a new file that you're sending back and forth?
It's a new file every time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll probably hardly ever use that feature. I think I think we tried once, but that was just nothing.
Yeah.
Wasn't really working out. Yeah, we're right at that minute. So I think it's pretty good timing. I don't know if there's anything else. Did everybody get set up on the database? Everyone was kind of started. I know there's a lot of stuff that went in today, but at least you got all the tools to kind of start, working with it, trying out the tools that will kind of walk you. Anybody?
Is the PowerPoint available?
What's that?
Where's the PowerPoint? Is it available, Tess?
Yeah. It's in the. I'll send you a link to it. It's in the N drive, the user. And then this video, it's getting recorded, so it's going to save and it'll get posted to the YouTube. We'll update the one we had from last year in case you need to get a refer to it. So.
Well, thank you guys. It was pretty informative. I'm honestly excited to highlight and count stuff.
All right. Yeah. The bean counting, right? The fun stuff, yeah. Okay.
All right. Yeah,
All
if there's
right.
anything, just let us know.
Yeah, we're here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. See you guys.
Yeah.